Next question. It's a original examination question. The source is also very clearly given there. The question says, the speed of the car increases by 2 kilometers per hour after every 1 hour. That means for every 1 hour, the speed will increase by 2 kilometers per hour. That's the meaning of the first statement. If the distance covered in the first hour was 35 kilometers, then what was the total distance covered in 12 hours? Now see here, it's a very simple question. First hour, it has covered a distance of 35 kilometers, and for the next hour, after 1 hour, it will increase by 2 kilometers. That means second hour it will move at a speed of 37. After another 1 hour, it will again increase its speed by 2 kilometers. It will become 37 plus 2, and it will become 39 plus 2, and it will become 41 plus 2. Like that, it keeps on continuing. Totally, as of now, there are totally 5 hours which has been completed. What will be the total distance that will be covered in 12 hours is the question. Now, that means the last term, nth term is nothing but 12, right? So basically, you need to continue the same arithmetic progression series. It is in arithmetic progression because the common difference between the consecutive terms, common difference between the terms is nothing but constant. Here the difference is 2, here also difference is 2, here also difference is 2. That's the meaning of it. So basically n value is 12, and we are actually interested in finding the sum of first 12 terms, where the first term is starting from 35 and the common difference is 2. You know arithmetic progression already. Sum of n terms is, it is n by 2. N is nothing but 12 in this case, into 2a. A value is the first term. 2 into 35 is 70, plus n minus 1 into d. N minus 1 is 12 minus 1, which is 11. D is nothing but the common difference. 35 and 37, the difference is 2. Or 37 and 39, the difference is 2. Or 41 and 39, sorry, 39 and 37, the difference is 2. 41 and 39, the difference is 2. So common difference is 2. If you simplify this, you will get the answer. So 2 into 1, 2 into 6. Basically, answer should be a multiple of 6. So you can say that 11 into 2 is 22, 70 plus 22 is 92, 90 into 6 is 540, 2 into 6 is 12. Answer should be 552 kilometers for this question, which is option B. So answer for this question is 550 kilometers. Option B should be the answer. It's a very simple basic concept of arithmetic progression. Now you can see the next question, which is pretty similar to arithmetic progression once again, and it is your original prelims question 2017. Now see here, the question says, a bus is running with an initial speed of 21 kilometers per hour, and its speed is increased every 3 hours. For every, sorry, not every 3 hours, every hour. After every 1 hour, its speed is increased. By how much will it increase? It will increase by 3 kilometers after every 1 hour. That means in the previous question, it was 2 kilometers per hour increase. In this question, it is 3 kilometers per hour increase. Now, first, it is saying that a bus is running with an initial speed of 21 kilometers per hour. So, initially it was traveling at a speed of 21 kilometers per hour. For the second hour, it will increase by 3 more. It becomes 24 kilometers per hour. For the third hour, it will increase by another 3 more. It will become 27 kilometers per hour. Next, it will be 27 plus 3, which is 30. And it continues. It keeps on continuing. Right? It keeps on continuing. Now, your question is very simple. What, after how many hours, or how many hours will it take to cover a distance of 252 kilometers? How many hours will it take to cover a distance of 252 kilometers is the question. Now see here, 21 plus 24, which is 45. So in 2 hours it has covered 45, but it is not equal to 252. 21 plus 24 plus 27, which is nothing but 60, 65, 72. In 3 hours it has covered 72, but it is not equal to 252. Like that, basically, if you are using a very traditional approach, you should keep on writing all the terms until the terms sum becomes 252 distance. That means, let us consider that it has traveled for a total of t hours. We don't know how many hours it has traveled. Assume that it has traveled for a total of t hours. So that t hours is nothing but, this is 1 hour, this is 2 hours, this is 3 hours, this is 4 hours. Like that, it has totally traveled for t hours. When you add all the terms, when you add all the t terms, totally there are t terms in the series of this arithmetic progression. When you add all of them, the sum should become 252. How many terms you will get is the question basically they are asking. So I can say that sum of n terms or sum of n terms, the last term, the total sum is nothing but 252, which is the total distance. N by 2, n is nothing but t by 2 in this question, because t is the total number of hours or total number of terms into 2a, 2 into 21, which is 42, plus n minus 1. N is nothing but t only. It is t minus 1. N minus 1 into d. D is nothing but the common difference. 21 and 24 difference is 3. So if I further simplify this, 252 into 2, which is nothing but 504. 504 is equal to t into, this is 3t minus 3 plus, what is that, 42, minus 3 plus 42 is minus 39 plus 39, so it is 3t plus 39. So if you simplify on the right hand side, 504 is equal to 3 common factor, 3 into t into what is that, t plus 13. So 3 into 1, 3 into 1 is 3. 504 will go how many times? It will go 168 times. So the final equation is 168 is equal to t into t plus 13. 168 is equal to t into t plus 13. Now, if you just multiply like that, you will be ending up with a quadratic equation, and you will waste your time by solving the quadratic equation. The best way to solve further is just substitute the answer options, just substitute the value of t. If I substitute t value as 6, 6 into 6 plus 13, 19 into 6, is it 168? No, it is not 168, ruled out. If I substitute 5, 5 into 5 plus 13, 5 into 18, 18 into 5 is 90, it is also not the right answer. If I substitute 8, 8 into 8 plus 13, 8 plus 13 is 21, 8 into 21 is nothing but equal to 168. That means totally you should write 8 terms like that, and when you add those 8 terms, the sum will become 252, or basically it says it will take totally 8 hours to cover a distance of 252 kilometers for the conditions which are given in the question. But having said that, this method whatever I have used is nothing but method 1. Method 1 will give you the answer, no doubt about it, but I want you people to think a little bit logically so that you can solve little faster by using method 2. See here, let me use a different color for method 2. See the question, method 2. After how many hours will it will cover the distance of 252 is the question. Now initially it is traveling at 21. Second hour it is traveling at 24 kilometers per hour. Third hour it is traveling at 27 kilometers. Fourth hour it is traveling at 30. Fifth hour it is traveling at 33 kilometers. Why did I write 5 terms, or why did I write till 5 hours? Because the second option says 5 hours. That means when I add all these 5 terms, the sum should become 252. The sum, is it 252? No, it is not 252, because 20, 60, 90, 120 plus remaining small bits also, if you add, you will not get 252. That cannot be the answer. Sixth term also let me include. That means I will include 36. If I include 36 also, if I include 36, now I don't want you people to add the entire 6 terms and waste your time. Rather than that, please apply the concept of averages. We know that average in arithmetic progression is nothing but first term plus last term divided by 2. If there are 6 terms, first term is 21, last term is 36 divided by 2. So this is nothing but 36 plus 21 is nothing but 57 by 2. This is average, but I want the sum. Sum is nothing but average into number of terms. So 57 divided by 2 into 6 terms. So 57 into 3. Is it equal to 252? No, it is not equal once again. First option is also ruled out. Now let us quickly move on to third option, which is 8 terms. That means basically After 36, I will write here itself, the next term becomes 39 and the last terms become 42, right? Last term become 42. So totally first term, second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, sixth term, seventh term, eighth term. Totally 8 terms are there, or totally for 8 hours I have written the speeds. Average, let me find it. Average is nothing but first term is 21, last term is 42. First term plus last term by 2. 21 plus 42, which is 63 divided by 2. And this is the average. But if you want to get the sum is nothing but average multiplied by number of terms. 63 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 8 terms. So it is 63 into 4. 63 into 4 is definitely equal to 252, which is what is given in the question. Therefore, my assumption of 8 is absolutely the right answer. I hope you are very, very clear with how to find. No, sir, I am not good in averages. I know formula by heart. I have by hearted the formula of sum of n term in arithmetic progression. Completely up to you. Your wish. That is the reason I am teaching you multiple beautiful methods. It is your responsibility to pick up the method whichever you are comfortable. Next question. It's a very, very good question, but definitely not a difficult question. You can solve it easily if you know the concept, and you can see here it's your original CAT 2019 question. Now please pay little more extra attention for this question. The question says two ants A and B start from a point P on a circle at the same time. So time is constant. Very, very important point. Time is constant. That means there is some point here called as P, right? There is some point here called as P on a circle. I have drawn the circle also well in advance before recording this particular problem. There is some point called as P on a circle, and there are two ants, and these two ants will start from this point P itself at the same time. Both the ants are starting at the same time. So time is constant. Distance ratio and speed ratio we need to consider. Let us see that later. Now see here. Can I say that time is constant? They both are starting at the same time, with A moving clockwise and B moving anti-clockwise. That means the ant called as A will start moving like this in clockwise direction, and the ant called as B, let me use a different color for B. Let me use a red color for example. There is another ant called as B. That ant will move in the anti-clockwise direction like this, whatever I have shown. I hope till this point there is no doubt about it. So ant B is moving like this in anti-clockwise, and ant A, for A let us use green color. The only problem with this question is I should keep on changing the colors. Ant A will move in clockwise direction, in this direction, whatever is shown in the diagram. Now the question also says they meet for the first time at 10 a.m. when A has covered 60% of the track. Now see here, total circle is constituting to 100%. Total circle is constituting to 100%, and they will meet for the first time at 10 a.m. when A has covered 60%. So 60% means more than half. That means somewhere here, somewhere after more than half of the this one track is completed, they both will meet. So this is the point of 10 a.m. and A will keep on moving like this. It will keep on moving like this, and this is the meeting point, right? Similarly, let us use the red color once again for ant B. Ant B was moving in anti-clockwise direction like this, and it will also meet. So this particular point, whatever I am marking right now at 10 a.m. is nothing but the meeting point. So can I say that ant A from P to, suppose for example meeting point, I'll name it as M for example. From P to M, ant A has covered a distance of 60%. From P to M, ant B has covered a distance of 40%, right? So the speed ratio of these two ants A and B, the speed ratio of these two ants A and B, speed ratio is directly proportional to distance ratio, because they both have started at the same time. It has covered a distance of 60%. B has covered a distance of 40%. So speed also will be 60:40, which is nothing but 3 3:2. And we also know that the distance between one point to another point in entire circle is constant, or the circle circumference is constant. Because the circle's circumference is constant, speed ratio and time ratio are inverse to each other. If the speed ratio is 3:2, time ratio will be how much? It will be 2:3. That means A will travel from P to M. Time taken by ant A to travel from P to M is nothing but 2. Time taken by ant B to travel from P to M is nothing but equal to 3 minutes. That is the meaning of time ratio. Now, until this, it's very clear is what I believe. Now, the next part of the question says, can I say that ant A has already covered a distance of 60%. Remaining 40% ant has to cover, right? Remaining 40% ant has to cover. Now think logically. The question also says, if A returns to P at 10:12 a.m. that means right now A is at the meeting point. It will continue to travel in this direction of clockwise direction itself, and it will cover the rest of the 40%, right? To cover the remaining 40% of the distance by A has taken 10 o'clock, meeting point is 10 o'clock, and it will once again reach point B at 10:12 a.m. That means from 10 o'clock to 10:12 a.m. it has covered 40%. That means it has taken 12 minutes. A has taken 12 minutes to cover. A has taken 12 minutes to cover 40% of distance, right? 40% of distance. Now, ant B is also at the meeting point. Let us calculate how much time B will take to cover the same 40%. I hope you are understanding. The distance both need to be traveling is same. To cover the same 40% of distance. Now, B is at the meeting point. B has covered from P to M. From P to M, B has covered 40%. Remaining distance that B has to cover to come back to P is 60%. Forget about 60. Let us calculate 40%. So, from M, B has continued to travel like this, and it has traveled for 40%. Another 20% is pending for B, right? So, for 40%, how much time will it take? According to ratio, time ratio of A is to B is 2:3. To cover 40%, A will take 2 minutes according to ratio. According to question, 12 minutes. 2 into 6 is 12. To cover the same 40%, B will take 3 minutes according to ratio. According to questions, 18 minutes. So, to cover from M to this 40% of distance, B has covered B has taken 18 minutes of time, right? B has taken 18 minutes of time, but another 20% is remaining right now. For 40%, it will take 18 minutes. For remaining 20%, it will take half of 18 minutes, 9 minutes. That means from 10 o'clock, what is your question? B will come back to P at what time? From 10 o'clock, B is totally covering 60% if it had to come to P. So, 40% of the distance from here to here, it is taking 18 minutes, and the remaining 20%, it is taking 9 minutes. So, totally to cover 60% from 10 o'clock, it is taking 18 plus 9, 27 minutes. From 10 o'clock, if it takes 27 minutes, it will reach, and B will reach point P exactly at 10:27 a.m., which is option C. Beautiful question. No variables, no formula, nothing. Extremely conceptual way of problem solving. You should be very, very beautiful in understanding whatever we are trying to solve in all these kinds of questions. Next question. Now see this question. It's a very easy question once again. A train covers a certain distance in 45 minutes. If its speed is reduced by 5 kilometers per hour, it takes 3 minutes more to cover the same distance. Again, the distance is constant. Find the distance in kilometer is the question. Now, first of all, let us calculate the time ratio of initial time and the final time taken. Initially, it was supposed to reach a destination in 45 minutes itself, but because of reducing the speed, it took 3 minutes more. That means it reached the destination in 48 minutes. 45 minutes is the initial time, 48 minutes is the final time. 45 is to 48. 3 into 15 is 45. 3 into 16 is 48. So time ratio is 15 is to 16. So speed ratio should definitely be the reverse of 15 is to 16. That is 15 is to 16 is to 15 should be the speed ratio. That means according to ratio, initially I was traveling at a speed of 16 kilometers per hour. Later I traveled at a speed of 15 kilometers per hour. That means I reduced my speed by 1 kilometer per hour. According to ratio, I reduced my speed by 1 kilometer per hour. According to the question, I reduced my speed by how much? 5 kilometers per hour. So 1 kilometer per hour should become 5 kilometer per hour. Multiply by 5. 16 also multiply by 5. That means initial speed at which I was traveling is 80 kilometers per hour. They are asking you to find the distance. Distance is speed into time. Speed is nothing but 80 kilometers per hour, and that is the initial speed. Initial time taken is 45 minutes. 45 minutes is nothing but 45 by 60 hours, which is nothing but 3 by 4 hours. 4 into 1, 4 into 20, 20 into 3. Answer for this easy question should be 60 kilometers, which is option B. It's not at all a difficult question. Very, very easy question it was. Next question. Your original question which had come in 2017 mains examination, and we will solve this question by using two methods. Whichever the method you are comfortable, please carry forward that method. Now see here. The question says, a jogger covered a certain distance at some speed. We don't know at what speed he will travel actually. There is one jogger who is jogging actually. He covered a certain distance at some speed. Had he moved 3 kilometers faster, he would have taken 20 minutes less. If he had moved 1 kilometer slower, he would have taken 10 minutes more. What is the distance that the jogger has jogged, and find the distance in terms of kilometer. Now, this kind of questions where the speed is faster and the time is lesser, where the speed is slower and the time is increased, such kind of problems Anil Nair sir has already taken by using a beautiful concept of ratios. You can refer to the old videos. In fact, I have also taken this kind of problems once again by using some beautiful concept. Anil Nair sir also has taken this kind of problems already. But why am I taking one more time? Because I will teach you another method. This method, whatever I am teaching right now, will involve little bit of variables. But having said, it is your responsibility to decide whether to use this method or the method which we have already taught in the previous classes. You decide and choose whichever is the easy method for you. Now see here, I don't know the distance. Let me call as capital D for example. I don't know the usual speed. They are saying that it is he is traveling at some speed. So that usual speed, I will keep it as S kilometers per hour for example, right? I will keep it as S kilometers per hour. Why am I discussing this variable method? This variable method is also not too much time consuming. In fact, that is the reason I am teaching this method also. But if you do not really want to use variable method, you can refer to the old videos of time, speed and distance where Anil Nair sir had taken a beautiful concept without any variables. I myself was also taken that same concept in one of my classes earlier. Now see here, usual speed is yes. Now we know that distance is equal to speed into time, right? Distance is equal to speed into time. What is the question they are saying? Had he moved, suppose the original speed is S kilometers per hour or the usual speed is S kilometers per hour. If he had traveled 3 kilometers faster, so usual time taken is T hours. If he had traveled T minutes or whatever it is, if he had traveled 3 kilometers faster, so S would have become S plus 3. He would have taken 20 minutes less. T would have become T minus 20 minutes, right? T minus 20 minutes. If he had moved at 1 kilometer slower, S would have become S minus 1 kilometer slower. He would have taken 10 minutes extra or more. T would have become T plus extra 10 more minutes. What is the distance? I hope this diagram is very clear for you people. Now, if I take the first two parameters one at a time, first two I will create an equation. That means distance is equal to speed into time. Now, speed, there are two speeds in the first two cases. One is S, another one is S plus 3. Just multiply them. Do not even bother, just multiply them. And when you multiply the speeds, divide by the difference between the speeds. S and S plus 3, what is the difference in speed? It is 3. Divide by that. So that is nothing but S multiplied with time. Same to same. You have two values here. One is T, another is T minus 20. Or in simple language, instead of using that kind of T into T minus 20 divided by whatever the value, you can say that he would have taken 20 minutes less. 20 minutes converted to hours. When you convert 20 minutes to hours, it becomes 1 by 3, 20 by 60. So this is nothing but the distance. But the same distance can also be calculated using the last two cases. I hope you are understanding carefully. Using the last two cases, distance can also be written as S into S minus 1. S into S minus 1 divided by, what is the difference in the speed? It is 1 multiplied with time. Time is nothing but 10 minutes more. 10 minutes is nothing but 10 by 60 hours, or it is 1 by 6 hours. Now you already have the equations. Just simplify, substitute everything, simplify it. S cancels with S. 3 into 1 and 3 into 2, multiply 3 into S plus, 2 into S plus 3, it is 2S plus 6, right hand side is 3 into S minus 1, it is 3S minus 3, so S will become 9 kilometers per hour. So we know the value of S, but they are not asking you S value, they are asking you distance value. For us to calculate the distance, I can say that distance is equal to speed into time. Speed we came to know as 9 kilometers per hour, and time taken, just substitute in any one of the equations. Time taken will be, so I can say that 9 kilometers per hour is the speed. Initial speed is 9 kilometers per hour, which we are very clear about it. And we know that if he is traveling, just substitute here, sir. There is nothing that you are actually doing here. 9 value you substitute here, so you will get 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 divided by 3, it is 4. So distance is basically whatever you got, 12 divided by 9 you got it here, right? 12 divided, because 9 if I substitute, so it is 9 into 9 plus 3 divided by 3 into 1 by 3. So that is nothing but the distance value. You can just substitute there. So basically it is 9 into 9 plus 3 is 12, right? I am just substituting and simplifying, divided by 3 into 1 by 3. I hope you are getting. So 9 cancels with 9 and you are left with 12 kilometers as the distance. So final answer for this question is 12 kilometers, which is option C. I hope this method is very clear. I know that it involves little bit of variables. You do not like this method, please refer to the old videos whatever Anil Nair sir has taken, and I myself have also taken that method. In fact, in some of the videos of time, speed and distance where we have used the ratios concept. I do not want to repeat the same method once again because it is already taken. As much as possible, I always like to take as many different methods as possible, so that you will also have an edge over multiple methods and you will also solve the problems whichever method you are comfortable with in the examination. Next question. See here, pretty much similar question. In fact, next question. See here, a man goes from his office to home to office daily with a certain speed. So we don't know the speed. I will call that speed as S kilometers per hour, for example, right? I will call that speed as S kilometers per hour. And it also says one day he went 8 kilometers faster and arrived 20 minutes sooner. Another day he went 3 kilometers slower and arrived 30 minutes later. Find the distance between home and his office. Same to same question, no change in the approach. So actual speed is S, actual time is T. So first day he went at 8 kilometers faster. He reached 20 minutes earlier itself. Second day he increased its speed by decreased its speed by 3 kilometers, s minus 3. He reached half an hour later, so he took 30 minutes extra, t plus 30. So question is, find the distance between home and office. So same to same logic, distance is equal to speed into time. If I take the first two parameters, in fact, so s into s plus 8, and then divide that by difference between the speed, that is nothing but 8, and multiplied by time. So 20 minutes is nothing but 1 by 3. So this is speed into time, distance. Same distance can also be written taking into last two parameters into consideration. Here it is s into s minus 3, right? It is s into s minus 3. The difference between the speeds is 3 and the time is half an hour. Half an hour is nothing but 1 by 2. So 3 cancels with 3 here, and then just s cancels also with s. Just to cross multiply and simplify, you should definitely get the answer. So if I simplify, so 2 into 1, 2 into 4. Left hand side will be s plus 8. Right hand side 4 will be multiplied here. 4s minus 12. So 4s minus s is 3s. 3s is equal to 20. S is equal to 20 divided by 3 kilometers per hour. Right? 20 divided by 3 kilometers per hour. So we know the speed, but we are not actually interested in only stopping at the speed, because the question is asking you for the distance. Substitute in any one of the equation. So distance is equal to s is nothing but 20 divided by 3, s plus 8. 20 divided by 3 plus 8. So can I say that? Or you can also calculate from here also. You can take the second one also if you really want to. Okay, let us calculate for the second equation. That means this equation I am talking about. S is nothing but 20 by 3 into s minus 3. 20 by 3 minus 3. So it is nothing but 11 by 3, right? It is 11 by 3 when you take the LCM. Whole thing divided by 3 multiplied by 1 by 2, or you can divide it by 2 itself. So all of them are same in fact. So this becomes 2 into 10. 2 into 10 is 20. So final distance will be 20. 10 into 11, it is 110, and this 3 into 3 divided by whole thing divided by 3, that 3 also will go above it, basically 3 cube. 110 divided by 27 kilometers is the distance. 27 into 4 is 108. Answer is approximately equal to 4. This is little more away from 4. This is also little more away from 4. 3.7 is less than 4. Definitely 110 by 27 should be 4.047 kilometers. Answer should be option A. I hope this kind of methodology is very clear for all the students. Having said, if you want a different ratio kind of method, you can refer to the old videos as I have already mentioned you people. Now, before starting the next few problems, let us understand the concept. Now, what this concept is about? This concept is about the concept of two people meeting at a certain point. Now, this concept, I call it as meeting point concept. Please listen to this very carefully. We will understand the concept, and then once we understand the concept, problems will be very simple for you people to solve it. Meeting point concept is what we are discussing right now. Now see here, I will take an example also. I will also generalize and tell it. Both the things I will try to solve it or teach you by diagrams so that it will be easy for you people to understand. Now suppose for example, assume that there is a city called as P here, right? There is a city called as P for example, and there is another city called as Q here, right? There is a city called as P, there is a city called as Q. Now this distance is nothing but PQ, right? The distance from city P to city Q is nothing but the distance called as PQ. Now there is one person called as person A. This person A is starting from city P and he is traveling to city Q at a speed of s1 kilometers per hour, right? He is starting from city P and he is traveling to city Q at a speed of s1 kilometers per hour. There is another person called as B. Person B is starting from city Q and he is traveling to city P at a speed of s2 kilometers per hour for example. Now these are general values s1 and s2. If you want it to be a numerical value for your better understanding, same to same we will understand on the right hand side here. There is a city called as P, there is a city called as Q, right? There is a city called as P, there is a city called as Q. Now, this person called as A, Assume that he is traveling at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour from city P to city Q. There is another person called as B. He is traveling from city Q to city P at a speed somewhere around 50 kilometers per hour. Let us take it an example. Now, right hand side is for your better understanding through numerical values. Left hand side is the generalized version of the meeting point concept, so that we will generalize it and we will use it in problems. Now see here, when the person A is traveling from city P to city Q, he first of all, the condition in both the things whatever I have written on the right hand side or left hand side is both A and B are starting from their respective places at the same time. That means if A is starting at 9 o'clock, for example, in the morning from P, B is also starting at same time 9 o'clock in the morning from Q, right? That is the meaning of this. Now I can say that suppose for example this person A has started from city P. He keeps on traveling like this, and city Q also B has started. He also keeps on traveling like this. When they are traveling like that, at some point of a time they both will meet, right? At some point of a time they both will meet. Assume that they both will meet at a point called as R. I will call that as city R, for example. Please pay complete attention. This generalization is very important for next 4 to 5 very beautiful questions. They both are meeting at a point called as R. I will call that as city R, for example. Here also let us take that as city R, and this is the distance traveled by from city P to city R, and this is the distance traveled by the person B from city Q to city R. Here also A has traveled a distance of PR and B has traveled a distance of QR. I hope till this point there is no doubt, and because right hand side diagram is the numerical value example, let us say that they both will meet at 3 p.m. right? Let us say that they both will meet at 3 p.m. Now, so in this generalized case, here A is traveling from P to R. Here B is traveling from Q to R. I hope you are very clear till this point without any doubts. Now see here, let us continue further. In the right hand side numerical values example, I told that they both met after some hours. That means they both met at 3 o'clock. They started their journey at 9 o'clock. A has started his journey at 9 o'clock and he met another person at 3 o'clock. From 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, there is a gap of 6 hours. That means they are meeting after how many hours? They are meeting after 6 hours if I take numerical values. Similarly, so that means A has basically traveled for 6 hours. The person B also started at 9 o'clock. He also met another person at city R at 3 o'clock itself. That means B also has traveled for 6 hours and they both met after 6 hours. Now, this is a numerical value example. But if I generalize it, let us take that they both meet after some T hours, right? They both meet after T hours. In the example, whatever I have taken on the right hand side, instead of T, it is nothing but 6 hours. From 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it is 6 hours. But in the generalized case, we don't know what is that. I am just assuming it as a general case as T hours. So till this point, I believe there is no doubt for any student listening to the class. Now, can I say that let us calculate like this. Let us think that in 1 hour, the speed of A is in 1 hour he will travel a distance of 40 kilometers. But from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock he has traveled for 6 hours. In 1 hour it is 40. In 6 hours he has traveled a distance of 40 into 6 kilometers. Similarly, in 1 hour B will cover 50 kilometers. He has also traveled from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock for 6 hours. In 1 hour he will cover 50. In 6 hours he has covered 50 into 6 kilometers. That means, can I say that the distance traveled by A from P to R and the distance traveled by B from Q to R, it is nothing but equal to 40 into 6 divided by 50 into 6. And if I take the ratio, 6 will cancel. 40 divided by 50 is nothing but 4 divided by 5. And 4 by 5 is nothing but the speed of two people A and B. Speed of A and speed of B. It is 40 divided by 50 kilometers per hour. 40 by 50 ratio is once again 4:5. So it is a very simple concept. Because the time taken by both A and B is constant. A is also taking 6 hours to meet B. B is also traveling for the same 6 hours to meet A. Time is constant. If the time is constant, speed and distance are directly proportional to each other. Whatever you get the distance ratio, same thing will be the ratio of the speeds. I hope you are very clear with the numericals values what I have taken. Distance ratio and speed ratio will be directly proportional to each other because the time is constant. Same thing. Whatever we have taken as a numerical example and told 6 hours, all those things on the right side of the screen, let us now generalize it on the left side of the screen. So can I say that the distance traveled from P to Q, P to R, not P to Q, the distance traveled from P to R, it is nothing but, who is traveling from P to R? A is traveling from P to R and he is traveling at a speed of S1 kilometers per hour. How much distance he has traveled there? He has traveled a distance of something which we will find it out right now. Similarly, distance traveled from Q to R is also some distance which we will find it. But let us now consider the case. Now, till now whatever we have discussed is the case at the point of meeting, at the meeting point. How much distance will they travel after the meeting point? Let us use a different color so that it will be very clear for you. Now, A has traveled from P to R like this, and after meeting Q, after meeting B at a point R, he will continue his journey to Q, right? He will continue his journey to Q. Similarly, B has traveled from Q to R like this. B had traveled from Q to R like this. After meeting A at R, he will also continue the journey like this. That means A will continue his journey like this. B will also continue the journey like this after their meeting, right? After their meeting. How much distance will A cover from R to Q? A will cover from R to Q. How much distance? Suppose, for example, distance. We know that distance is equal to speed into time. Speed of A is traveling from R to Q. Speed of A is nothing but S1 kilometers per hour. And we don't know the time taken by A. Let us take the time taken by A as T1 hours. Similarly, so the distance traveled from R to Q from A is S1 into T1. Similarly, how much time will B take to cover from R to P? It is nothing but distance is equal to speed into time. Distance of B is S2 and time taken by B, we don't know. Let us consider that he will take T2 hours. So the distance from R to P is how much? S2 into P2. Let us write it. Let us generalize. PR distance is nothing but from P to R. It is S2 into T2 is the distance. I hope you are understanding. Similarly, from R to Q or from Q to R, whatever it is, both are same. The distance is S1 into T1, right? The distance is S1 into T1. Now, you might ask me a question. What is this T1 and T2? T1 and T2 are the time taken by two people A and B respectively after meeting. The time taken by A and B to reach their respective destinations is nothing but T1 and T2. If you want, I will really write it. Do not get confused. After meeting, let me write it so that it will be super clear for you. Let me take little bit of extra time to explain. That is completely okay, but you should understand it thoroughly. After meeting, they both will take times of T1 and T2 hours time to reach their respective destinations. T1 and T2 time to reach their respective destinations. I hope you are very clear with this. T1 and T2 are the time frames taken by two peoples A and B to reach their respective destinations after meeting. That is very important. The most important statement or the word is after meeting. I hope till this is very clear. Now, from the diagram or from the right hand side explanation, we came to know that the distance ratio is absolutely proportional, directly proportional to the speed ratio. Now, can I say that the distance ratio, distance traveled from P to R, distance traveled from P to R, who is traveling initially this distance from P to R? A is traveling this, and he is traveling with a speed of S1. Distance traveled from P to R, and the distance traveled from R to Q, or from Q to R rather. So from Q to R, who is traveling initially? B is traveling, and he is traveling at a speed of S2. This distance ratio is directly proportional to the speed ratio S1 divided by S2, where S1 is the speed of A traveling from P to R initially, and S2 is the speed of B traveling from Q to R initially. But we know that PR by QR, PR by QR is nothing but S2 T2 divided by S1 T1, S2 T2 divided by S1 T1. So if I cross multiply S1 by S2, and here S2 by S1 will cross multiply, it becomes S1 square by S2 square is equal to T2 by T1. Very important point. We can generalize it saying as S1 divided by S2. The speed ratios of two people A and B is nothing but equal to the reciprocal, the square root of the reciprocal of the time taken by those two peoples after their meeting. So S1 by S2 is equal to square root of T2 by T1. Very important point which I have proved it also. And what is this T1 and T2? I have very clearly mentioned here also. The T1 and T2 are nothing but after they both are meeting, they will take a time frame of T1 and T2 respectively to reach their destinations. That is nothing but T1 and T2. What is S1 by S2? S1 and S2 are nothing but the speeds of two people A and B respectively. And I have very clearly explained you that if the time is constant, speed ratio and distance ratio are directly proportional to each other, which is very beautifully explained by taking right hand side numerical values example, and I have proved it as well. Now you might also get one more scenario doubt here. What is that? Sir, you said that they meet after T hours, right sir? How to calculate that T value? That is my next explanation, which I will do it right now itself. That means from A to from P to R, A is traveling and A has traveled a distance of T hours before meeting, right? A has traveled a distance of how many hours? T hours. Similarly, from Q to R, B has traveled. B has also traveled a distance of how many hours? T hours. This T hours is nothing but 6 hours in my right hand side example. From 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it is 6 hours. From 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock here also, it is 6 hours. And we are calculating that value of 6 generally. In a general scenario, we are calculating that value of 6. That 6 only I called it as T hours in general. How to calculate that T hours? It is very simple. Now, we also know that how to calculate T. We know that time is equal to distance by speed, right? Time is equal to distance by speed. Now, can I say that time taken from P to R, time taken from P to R is nothing but, I will call that time as a small letter t for example, and distance traveled from P to R by A, it is nothing but S2 into T2. A is traveling a distance of S2 into T2 from P to R, and distance by speed at which A is traveling from P to R is nothing but how much speed? It is S1. So T is nothing but S2 S2 by S1 into T2. S2 by S1, we can easily calculate this S2 by S1. S1 by S2 is root of T2 by T1. S2 by S1 is reverse. It is root of T1 by T2. So I can write it as root T1 divided by root T2, and this T2 I will write it as it is, right? This T2 I will write it as it is. So finally, if I simplify root T2 divided by root T2, it is root of T2 in the numerator, and we have already root of T1. So root of T1 into root of T2. So final answer will be root of T1 into T2. That means the time taken before the meeting, that means A has traveled from P to R. How much time did A travel from P to R? He has taken a time of root of T1 into T2. Similarly, B has traveled from Q to R before they met. How much time has B traveled from Q to R? He has also traveled for a time period of root of T1 into T2. So that is what we have calculated right now in the right side bottom of the screen, which I have written in red ink. I hope it is very clear for all the students. Just to summarize it in 1 minute in a nutshell, S1 by S2 ratio is nothing but root of T2 by T1. But remember, T1 and T2 are the time taken by two people A and B respectively after meeting point. That word after meeting point is the most important thing there. After meeting point to reach their respective destinations. And if A has to meet B at some point, from the starting point till the meeting point, how much time did A take? He has taken a time of T hours, and that T is proved as root of T1 into T2. Similarly, from the starting point of B till the meeting point, if B has to travel from the starting point till the meeting point, how much time B has taken? He has also taken time of T hours, and that T is once again given as root of T1 into T2. I hope you are super clear with the concept. I have spent so much of time in explaining this concept because I know that if you know this concept, the next 3 to 4 problems are like this. I want that to happen, and I want you people to remember this concept also. I hope it is very clear for all the students listening to the class. Next question. Now see here, this is your original 2018 mains question, but you can solve these questions very fast and very easily right now because we know the meeting point concept already by now. Now see here, the question says A and B started their journeys from X to Y and Y to X. That means basically they both are actually traveling towards each other. After crossing each other, this is the most important point in the statement. After crossing each other, A and B completed the remaining parts of their journey in 6 1/8 hours and 8 hours respectively. That means basically 6 1/8 hours is the time taken by A to reach his respective destination. That we called it as T1 in our concept. So T1 is 49/8 hours, and 8 hours is the time taken by B to reach the destination after meeting A, and that we represented as T2 in the concept what we had discussed. So we know the value of T1 and T2, and it's also given that if the speed of B is 28 kilometers per hour, second person's speed is also given in the question as 28 kilometers per hour, find the speed of A. Now because we know that concept, it's so simple. S1 by S2 is nothing but equal to square root of T2 divided by T1. So S1 we are calculating, S2 is nothing but equal to SB in this question. So it is 28 square root of T2 by T1. T2 is nothing but 8. T1 is nothing but 49 divided by 8. That divided by will go to the numerator. So I can simplify this as 8 square under the square root is 8. 49 square root is 7. 7 into 1, 7 into 4. This 4 cross multiply with 8. So the speed of the first person A is 4 into 8, which is 32 kilometers per hour, which is option B. You can solve this kind of question so fast and so easily with knowing the concept of meeting point, whatever we have already discussed. Now see the next question. Next question is also very much similar to the previous question what we have discussed. The question says, two trains, Calcutta Mail and Bombay Mail. There are two trains which are Calcutta Mail and Bombay Mail, start at the same time. That is the concept what we have discussed earlier. They both are starting at the same time from stations Kolkata and Mumbai respectively towards each other. They both are traveling towards each other from two different destinations or the places. After passing each other, the most important point once again is after passing each other. That means basically after the meeting points, they take 8 hours and 32 minutes. So T1 value is given as 8 hours and 32 minutes. 8 hours and 32 minutes is nothing but 8 hours is nothing but 8 into 60 minutes, 480 minutes. 480 minutes plus 32 minutes. It is nothing but 512 minutes, right? It is 512 minutes. Similarly, 14 hours and 42 minutes to reach Mumbai and Kolkata respectively. T2 value is given as 14 hours and 42 minutes. 14 into 60 is nothing but 840 plus 42. 882 minutes is the value of T2 which they have given in the question. I hope you are understanding what is the meaning of T1, what is the meaning of T2, which I have very clearly explained in the concept. Now, the question also says, if the Calcutta Mail is moving at the speed of 105 kilometers per hour, first train is Calcutta Mail. So I will call that as S1. S1 is given in the question as 105 kilometers per hour. Find the speed of Bombay train. That is nothing but S2 they are asking. It's a very simple question once again because we know the values of everything whatever which is given. So S1 by S2 is nothing but square root of T2 divided by T1, right? Square root of T2 divided by T1. So S1 is nothing but okay, so what is that? Okay, S1 is nothing but 105 divided by S2 is nothing but equal to square root of T2 is nothing but how much? T2 is nothing but 882. T2 is 882 minutes divided by T1. T1 is nothing but 512 minutes. You should simplify that. The only thing which is extra in this question is little bit of simplification. The moment you simplify, it becomes very easy. 2 into 256 is 512. 2 into 441 is 882. And we know that 105 divided by S2 is equal to square root of 441 is 21. Square root of 256 is 16. 21 into 5 is nothing but 105. 16 into 5 is 80. Answer for this question is the speed of Bombay Mail train can be easily found out as 80 kilometers per hour, which is option B, by using the meeting point concept what we have already discussed. That is the reason I spent almost 19 to 20 minutes in explaining you the meeting point concept so elaborately, so that you will solve all these questions in the super faster way, like the way the speed of two trains are moving at a faster pace. I hope these two questions are very clear for all the students listening to the class. See the next question. Now see the next question. Question says, two persons Ram and Shyam start simultaneously in the opposite direction from 2 points A and B at 9 a.m. So basically two people are starting at the same time. Those two people are moving in the opposite direction towards each other and they are starting simultaneously. That means same time. Now each of them runs towards starting point of other person. That means Ram will actually move towards the starting point of Shyam. Shyam will actually move towards the starting point of Ram. Now, after crossing each other, the most important statement once again came for us. After crossing each other, Ram took 80 minutes and Shyam took 45 minutes to reach their destinations. That means very clearly the values of T1 and T2 are given in the question as 80 minutes and 45 minutes. T1 value is 80 minutes in the question. T2 value, T1 and T2 are the time taken by Ram and Shyam to reach their respective destinations after meeting or after crossing each other. So we came to know the values of T1 and T2. At what time will they meet each other is the question. That means from the starting point, this is where Ram is present right now. This is where Shyam is present right now. Ram and Shyam are moving towards each other like this. They are moving, they are moving, they are moving. Like this, they both actually met at some point. Now, this is the meeting point. How much time has Ram taken to travel from his starting point to the meeting point? Or how much time has Shyam taken to reach from starting point of Shyam to the meeting point? Both the time are same because the time is constant, and that time we have already calculated in our concept once again as T. The T value is given as square root of T1 into T2. The proof was also very beautifully explained in the concept. Square root of T1 value is 80 and T2 value is 45. So 80 into 45. 45 into 2 is nothing but 90. 45 into 8 is 360. So 360 and 45 into 8 is 360. 45 into 80 is 3600. That means time taken by both the people to meet from their starting point. Square root of 3600 is 60 minutes. 60 minutes means from 9 o'clock. They both are starting exactly at 9 o'clock from their starting point. And after starting at 9 o'clock, they traveled for 60 minutes. That means they traveled for 1 hour and they both met. That means they both met at 9 o'clock plus 1 hour. 10 o'clock in the morning is what they both have met in the answer. Answer for this question is 10 a.m. which is option B. I hope it is very clear about what we have discussed in the concept and what we are solving in last 3 problems also. Next question. Again pretty much similar kind of question. See the question. P and Q start running simultaneously. One from points A and B and the second from point B and A. That means basically they are running towards each other in the opposite direction. P's speed is 6 by 5th of Q speed. Speed of P is 6 by 5 times of speed of Q. That means we can say that the speed of P divided by speed of Q, the ratio is nothing but 6:5. This we can easily predict. Now the question is, if after crossing Q, that means after they both are met and both are actually moving toward their destination after meeting, that is what they have given. If after crossing each other, P takes 2.5 hours to reach B, that is nothing but time taken by P. And how much time did Q take to reach A after crossing P? That means time taken by P is nothing but 2.5 hours, which is 5 by 2 hours. Time taken by Q is nothing but how much they have asked in the question. Now it's a very simple explanation once again. Speed of P divided by speed of Q is nothing but equal to square root of time taken by Q divided by time taken by P. Whatever speed ratio you have written on the left hand side, reverse it and write it as the time ratio on the right hand side along with the square root. This is after meeting. Now we know that speed of P divided by speed of Q is nothing but 6 divided by 5, which we have already calculated, is equal to square root of time taken by Q we don't know. Time taken by P is nothing but 5 divided by 2. That 2 will come to the right hand side, sorry, numerator. It will come to the numerator. Now, if I want to remove the square root, square it on both sides. 6 by 5 becomes 36 by 25 and the right hand side becomes 2 times of TQ divided by 5. 5 into 5 is 25. 2 into 18 is 36. So time taken by Q is nothing but 18 divided by 5. 18 divided by 5 hours, or it is nothing but 3.6 hours. So 18 divided by 5 is nothing but 3.6 hours, or it is nothing but 3 hours, and 0.6 hours is nothing but 0.6 into 60 minutes, which is nothing but 36 minutes. So time taken by Q after meeting to reach his destination is 3 hours and 36 minutes, which is option A. I hope you are super clear with the concept and also the problems based on those concepts. I think everything should be very, very beautifully understood till this point of a time for you people. Next question. Two trains P and Q start their journey from Delhi and Kanpur respectively towards each other. Now, if you really want, I will write the diagram also. Now, there are two places. This place is nothing but a place called as Delhi, and there is another place nothing but a place called as Kanpur, right? This is what they have given in the question. Now, see here. And they are saying that two trains P and Q start their journey from Delhi and Kanpur. Now, P is starting from Delhi moving towards Kanpur. Q is starting from Kanpur moving towards Delhi. Now, P is traveling like this. After some point it will meet Q. Q is also traveling from Kanpur. After some point it will meet P, right? So P and Q basically are meeting after some distance. We don't know after how much distance, how much time, nothing is known till this point. Now, this is where P is traveling. This is where Q is traveling. Now, read the next statement. When they will cross each other, that means this is the point they will cross each other, then train P and Q will take 25 hours and 16 hours respectively to reach their destination. That means P, this is the meeting point. P will continue to travel and reach Kanpur, and this time is nothing but time T1. It is given as 25 hours in the question. I hope you are clear. Q has also met here, right? Q has also met here. Q has met the train P, and it will continue to travel and reach Delhi like this. And this time taken is T2. It is given in the question as 16 hours. I hope you are clear. Now, it is also said that the speed of train Q is 40 kilometers per hour. The speed of train Q, this speed is given in the question as 40 kilometers per hour. But we don't know the speed of train P. But the question is not asking you to find the speed of train P actually. It is actually asking you to find the distance between these 2 points of Delhi and Kanpur. So we can say that speed of train P divided by speed of train Q is nothing but T2 divided by T1. Speed of train P we don't know. Speed of train Q is 40. T2 by T1 is nothing but 16 divided by 25. 16 divided by 25 is nothing but 4 divided by 5. 5 into 1, 5 into 8. 8 cross multiplied with 4. Speed of train P we came to know as 32 kilometers per hour. What is the reason behind calculating speed of train P? You will understand in a minute or so. Speed of train P also we came to know right now as 32 kilometers per hour. Now let me use a different color so that it will be super clear for you. Now see here. Find the distance between Delhi and Kanpur is the question. Now can I say that distance is nothing but equal to speed into time, right? Distance is nothing but equal to speed into time. Now they are both meeting at this point, right? They both are meeting at this point. Now after meeting at that particular point, I can say that train P will continue traveling like this to reach Kanpur, and train P will travel with a speed of 32 kilometers per hour, and it will take 25 hours. Speed is 32. Time taken is 25. So distance traveled from train P to travel from meeting point to Kanpur is 32 into 25. So one of the distances, it is 32 into 25. I hope you are very beautifully understanding. Similarly, exactly similarly, after meeting, train Q will continue to travel like this, and train Q will reach the Delhi, right? Train Q will reach Delhi, and while train Q is traveling like this, it is traveling at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour, and it is totally taking 16 hours. That means the distance traveled by train Q from the meeting point till Delhi is 40 into 16. So add those two distances to get the final answer of the distance. Simple, so simple. It is so simple as you can think. So 32 into 25, or you can directly use the concept of unit digit if you really want to. So See here, 2 into 5 will end with 0, 0 into 6 will end with 0, 0 plus 0, answer should end with 0. That means option B and option D are ruled out. Either it should be 1440 or it should be 1680. Any one should be the answer. 25 into 30 is 750, 25 into 2 is 50, so this is 800, right? This is 800 plus 16 into 4 is 64, so it is 640, 800 plus 640, answer is total distance from Delhi to Kanpur is 1440 kilometers, which is option A. I hope you are very clear with the meeting point concept and all the 5 problems which we have solved using the beautiful concept of meeting point.